Firstly, the most important thing that I feel people should really consider is that consider your entrepreneurship journey like you genuinely need it and like your life depends on it. The best people who work in the company or any company, or the people who work the hardest, people who work the best, and people who work the most diligently are the people who genuinely need it. And you should always notice this. They are always in on time. They're doing the work, doing the right work. They're always eager to learn. They're always eager to grow. They are always eager to do so many things. But people who have a certain privilege and a fallback in life, not so much. There are very few exceptions there, right? So I think always reminding yourself that my life depends on this is the best way for people to really build the business.
Hello and welcome to Gujpreneur, where we cover the DNAs of Dhando from the Gujarati entrepreneurs. Today we have young dynamic entrepreneur with us, founder of Bummer, Sulay Lavsi. He has not just built a brand, he has also found his niche of the audience, he has found the niche of the product as well. He has been recognized under Forbes 30 under 30 and he has also pitched his idea to Shark Tank India. Hi Sulay, kem chho?
All good, Kem Cho.
All good, all good. We really love the product. We really love the brand, the name, the association with the brand itself is really good. We use it very frankly. We just want to understand your journey and can you describe your study part and the Bummer born baby, how it goes?
So, Meet, I've started Bummer about 4 years ago.
Okay.
In terms of the journey, it's much longer journey before that. For context, my family has been in the apparel textile space for many years.
Okay.
So I think being in apparel was a very natural extension for me. But I think what the largest realization was that it's very important that at the stage and time that I was at in life, this is probably the best age for me to experiment. So naturally, the idea of doing something of my own was something that I've had since ever since I was 18, right? Having said that, I've tried doing a couple of things in the past. Through my experiences, I graduated from Bombay, Narsi Munji, in 2015. I spent a couple of years again in fashion apparel. My first corporate job, I worked with Infibeam.com. For 1 year, actually, very interestingly, I learned tailoring. That was, I think, because the dream at that time really was कि આપણે મોટા થઈ અને I'll start my own tailoring factory, because garment was very exciting for me. We'll do garment manufacturing and we'll do exports and we'll set up this factory, etc., etc. So let me actually learn the whole art of tailoring in the first place. So in that 1 year, I did shirts, trousers, t-shirt, shorts, really everything under the sun. Learned how to it. If you tell me today, I probably can't do much, but still. And then
So you know the execution part.
Yeah, so it was, I think the idea was to kind of get deep dive into it, right? Like, because again, marketing, finance of apparel or any business is something that college and experience would ideally teach you, right? But garmenting is something which probably a practical experience only can teach you, really. So having said that, I spent 2 years in the US, and US was a very exciting phase for me those 2 years, because I was buying underwear for myself in the US. And just for context further, I studied entrepreneurship in the US. So I used to be a very conservative, very introverted guy, and I think this program kind of really pushed me out of my boundary. कि भाई campus पर जाओ, 100 लोगों जोड़े बात करो, validate your idea, take a selfie with random people on campus.
It helps.
So it breaks open a chain in some way. It's probably not the biggest thing, but it breaks open a chain, I would say. And one such instance in the US was me buying underwear for myself. I was looking on Amazon.com, and it was very interesting was as a Indian gone out to the US, when you look for underwear, the first thing you expect to see on Amazon.com is कि jockey देखा से, etc., right? And to my surprise, like, there was no jockey on the first couple of pages of Amazon.com, and inherently at that point in time, I knew that jockey is actually an American brand. It's not an Indian brand, which most Indians think a jockey Indian brand છે.
True.
Which was further surprising. It's a it's an American brand, and still you can't see anything. And it was full. I mean, funky, colorful, very exciting market. I got very excited, right? Like so, I stocked up for underwear for the next one whole year that I was going to be in the US, right? But that I think that started a thought process, and then I think the realization back to India, right? Firstly, you don't see a jockey, so the market is clearly not dominated by one or two or three brands.
Right.
It's a very open-ended market. Secondly, it's not a black, blue, white, and grey market. It's a very fun, colorful, interesting market.
Right.
And I think building on the backbone of that, I graduated after that. This was all happening. I was speaking to friends. When I initially moved back, I had made a friend, very close friend there, was actually from Pakistan in the US, and I said कि he was also moving back to India at the same time कि तू पाकिस्तान में start कर बमर, मैं इंडिया में start करता हूँ.
How come this Bummer name came?
Yeah. So anyways, we moved. I moved back. I had a small, I think 6-month job there again, which was in apparel manufacturing. It was a small company. We were helping small fashion startups launch their clothing line. So we would do everything from sourcing to delivery to then marketing and launch of these young brands. So that was the company I worked at.
Okay.
Did that for 6 months, moved back and started Bummer, right? So 1 year to full R&D, branding, design, what the product should look like, getting the manufacturers in, everything was going on. And a branding, obviously part of branding was, the first thing was identifying what should we call it, right? There are multiple names. બહુ એવી કોઈ સ્ટોરી નથી કે ટેબલ પર એપલ પડ્યું હતું ને આપણે એપલ નામ આપી દીધું, એવી સ્ટોરી નથી.
At lot of time this happens કે once the brand name એટલું સરસ famous થવા લાગે છે, and then people put the story behind it.
Correct.
એટલે not necessary we have to have those
I agree.
the game.
So I think it should be something which is extremely catchy, right?
Right.
There were multiple options and names and things that we were playing with for the brand name. But I think, and we literally listed down like tens of names. Ke, okay, theek hai. Amadi, what feels exciting?
Right.
And I think Bummer was one such name. The multiple thought processes behind why Bummer made sense at the time, and it still does.
Yeah.
Bummer is not for us, but it is. So the literal meaning of Bummer is basically disappointment. Okay. So it's a negative connotation word.
Okay.
It's basically like as a perfume hoy je jeનું નામ poison છે.
Right.
Right. So you're turning a negative impact into a positive one, realistically, right? So Bummer means disappointed, and we wanted to say that towards the rest of the industry. Ke boss, this is a disappointment. We are here to change it. Right.
Somehow I think. It is solving the purpose also, because it has the meaning, and as well as the name is catchy.
Yeah. So if you further break down the word, it's literally got the bum in it.
Yeah.
BUM, right? Like,
right.
So bum, very direct correlation to underwear.
True.
So I think it all ticked all the boxes at the time, and a fairly unique name.
Yeah.
If you've seen the Shark Tank episode, there's a small stint where Vinita also says that आपका brand name on point है.
On point है, true.
So we've carried it forward since then, and I think that's the journey.
That's wonderful. Have you ever thought કે while the family business is also into apparel, અને ક્યાંક back of the mind એવો નાનો એવો વિચાર આવ્યો તો કે હું ચડ્ડીનો ધંધો કરીશ? This is the Gujarati વિચાર કે ભાઈ સમાજમાં લોકો શું વિચારે છે. Have you ever thought of this thing ever, or it is like yaar business is business? Dhando hai dhando.
Exactly. I think dhando is dhando, right? I mean, I think it can come from anything, to be very honest. Whether it comes from selling condoms or alcohol or pan bidi or whatever, I think it's business at the end of the day. You may not necessarily be a consumer of everything that you sell. That is also possible.
Yeah.
But if you see an opportunity, I think that is the whole idea of being having the vision and the mission to kind of do something which excites you.
મને યાદ છે કે one of my friend he used to work with the biggest company of India. And he was getting associated with another company, and એના કોઈ friend નું એક interview હતું ને he told કે he's getting an interview from Whispers.
Okay.
And the first question was asked કે કેવી રીતે તમે આને માર્કેટ કરશો વેચશો. So he simply answered કે Whispers વેચવા માટે મારે પહેરવાની જરૂર નથી.
Right.
You know, this is something is stuck in my mind as well.
Yeah.
કે you know, to sell those products not necessarily you have to become customer.
Absolutely.
You have to just understand the consumers mindset કે boss એને શું જોઈએ છે.
Yeah.
And that is what something you have given, I think.
Yeah.
That the funky design, the material, I think it solves a lot of problem. I also get this one ક્યારનું એક અંદરથી પેલું આવે છે કે while studying in US somehow ક્યાંક એવું બી હતું કે એ ટાઈમે હું ખાલી આ ટાઈમ પાસ કાઢી લઉં. I mean not the time pass I would say, but એ ટાઈમમાં લોકો કેમ્પસ જોબ કરતા હોય or કોફી શોપમાં કરતા હોય, or at that time also you were back of the mind કે બોસ મારે ધંધો કરવો છે.
No, so the way I would think is કે જે બી તમે experiences લો છો લાઈફમાં, they are all stepping stones towards something, right? I think for me, I personally feel that you cannot directly jump into something. Sure, you can if the opportunity persists itself, but there are always stepping stones. So on campus as well, I used to work on, I went to USC, which is the University of Southern California, which is in LA, and I was working on campus for the first I would say 3-4 months. I worked in the library, and I was a sales guy, right? Like, so students ave, and at some point in time it is a little weird also, right? Because and I don't think you learn how to not take that directly, right? Like I was folding t-shirts. It's not પેલી આપણે જે સ્ટોરી સાંભળી એવી સ્ટોરી નથી આ કે ભાઈ મેં તો બહુ આ કર્યું ને તે કર્યું. I was there for 3 months, which is not a lot, but the reality of it is that it was a good experience for me, so I was doing that on campus. But apart from that, more or less I was college and school and programs were so busy that you didn't really get the time to work on campus or do anything beyond that.
We go to the brand's understanding. What is your brand's USP?
So I think there are multiple, I would say, but if I were to put it in a simple word, it is fashionable innerwear at an affordable price, building an aspirational brand, right?
Wonderful.
So why I say these three things is because combination of three things is the only thing that makes a brand, right? Like, I personally hate it when someone says that I have one USP, right? Because the barrier for competition or entry point is, so if I ask you ke bhai what is Apple's USP, there are multiple, right? Like, you can talk software, hardware, camera, etc, right? And only one thing doesn't really make Apple at the end of the day, right? So I think for us it's these three things. Fashionable innerwear, 100%, right? Like, I think માર્કેટમાં આજે કોઈ આ વસ્તુ કરી જ નથી રહી. And sure, there are pockets of brands doing this here and there, but if you broadly think about it, the companies which are doing billions of dollars worth of business are not in this segment, fashion in underwear segment, so to speak, right? Affordable, why? Because I think, and affordable કરતા પહેલા હું એસ્પિરેશનલ કહીશ, because આજે જોકી, રૂપા, લક્સ, Dixie are not aspirational brands. They are commodities.
True.
They are literally commodities.
It's all same ultimately.
Calvin Klein is an aspirational brand.
Definitely.
Hugo Boss is an aspirational brand, right? So building aspiration with fashion at an affordable price point is really where the brand fits in very well.
I think agar koi bhi aspirational entrepreneur hai, then they should also be following only these 3 points.
More or less,
what you are solving, how you are solving, and to whom you are solving.
And what is the emotion it is passing on to the consumer, right? Like, I think it should always hit one emotion. Whether you are making someone laugh, whether you are giving some sad story, I mean, or it should hit some emotion to the consumer for it to make sense.
And I think Bummer nu jetlu bhi reels or jetla bhi ads mein joya છે, even right now the UGC ads are live. previously a lot of Ahmedabad based influencer also used to come on the shoot, and
Yeah.
they used to have very funky kind of a setup and parties happening,
Yeah.
kind of a because they are fully comfortable and enjoying that
Correct.
thing.
Correct.
And it is something very aspirational for the people as well. કે you know મારે આવું પહેરવું છે, or I also want to feel like this.
Agreed.
At that aspirational value giving from the bummer. See, I would say as a consumer, it would be very easy for me to understand maybe કે ભાઈ aspirational value લેવી છે. પણ from the underwear, if I want to take this aspirational,
Yeah.
not just style, but just the lifestyle.
Correct.
It is something what Bummer has given, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so જેટલા બી અમારા કસ્ટમર્સ છે અને entire consumer base, including when we shoot the models and everybody that we work with, I think that is the immediate feedback, right? Like
Yeah.
even when we are shooting, the idea is ke feel at home, right? Like feel at home, feel very natural, because the underwear has to make you feel like you're fully clothed and you are doing exactly what you would do anyways.
True.
Right? So because this is, if I'm wearing a boring white underwear, boss, I don't feel like અમારી સામે 10 લોકો ઊભા છે, મારો ફોટો પાડે છે. Right? Like how does it feel, right? Like how does it feel? Sure, you are inside a studio, you are doing a catalog shoot, etc., etc. It's a different vibe, which is anyways mandatory for any brand to, if you want to sell online or wherever, right? Like, but how do you showcase the feeling of what it feels like to wear a bummer?
True.
And that can only come through certain ideologies of showcasing the brand in a way.
How did you get this inspiration from? કે બોસ મને આ ડિરેક્શન પકડવી છે, I want to give this aspiration.
યાર બહુ સિમ્પલ છે.
તમે પર્સનલી આ ફીલ કરેલું છે?
આ બહુ સિમ્પલ વસ્તુ છે. I will tell you. See, can you have fun with t-shirts, pants, hoodies, jackets, outerwear? No, probably not. You can have, if you're wearing it, you can have fun. You are always having fun,
right?
Right? You are always fully clothed wherever you go, if you think about it. But underwear as a product in itself is a funny product if you think about it. It's a funny product because કોઈ conversation નથી. આજે હું તમે randomly તમને પૂછો કે ભાઈ કઈ underwear પહેરો છો તમે, it's a conversation starter, it's a funny conversation starter, right? But if I ask you what t-shirt you are wearing, it's a normal question if you think about it. કે ભાઈ okay, our t-shirt looks good, what brand is it, or where did you get it, etc., etc. If I ask you about your underwear, it's immediately a complete icebreaker. So when the product in itself is silly, funny, I would say, there is so much you can do with it. There is so much you can do with it, right? Like હું આજે અંડરવેરમાં ઇમોશન નાખવા જઈશ ને, એટલે સેડ ઇમોશન નાખવા જઈશ ને, તો આખી બ્રાન્ડની પથારી ફેરવાઈ જશે, right?
I think this season also somebody came up with
two balls,
game, and they got chamat on the face, right? Did you feel that, because I saw that episode as well, અને did you ever feel that કે યાર આ લોકો મારો જીવ લઈ રહ્યા છે, કે આ ઇક્વિટી વધારે માંગી રહ્યા છે, or મને નહીં મળે તો શું? What was the feeling?
You mean when I was on Shark Tank?
When you were on the Shark Tank, what was the feeling, and how was your experience of Shark Tank?
મને યાદ જ નથી શું થયું Shark Tank માં, to be very honest, because you are in that moment. એ અડધો પોણો કલાક you are so much in the zone કે after coming out you feel blank કે what's થયું શું આ, right? Because it was very early for us. We were just about 1 year into the business. Secondly, you are on a proper set with the sharks and everything. There is no koi scripting nathi ama ke bhai.
You see those sharks on the first time for that directly set?
First time.
Ye logo pehla male.
Nah, first time. You see them for the first time when you enter the tank.
You already have that anxiety also.
Yeah, and there are so many lights, camera boss. એક તો આપણે મને તો camera lights તો ફાવતું જ નથી, ચિરાગ ભાઈને ખબર છે, આપણને ફાવતું જ નથી. અને there are bloody at least 10-20 cameras, 15-20 people on the set, અને સામે આ લોકો બધા બેઠા છે, and you know this is the deciding moment for your brand.
True.
Because if this works out, you get aired on TV.
True.
That is a lot of PR marketing, forget the money.
Definitely.
Right? So very extremely nervous. So if you ask me, I don't remember. હું આજે YouTube પર જઈને એપિસોડ જોઉં ને તો મને યાદ આવે છે આ બી થયું હતું.
How many times have you watched your own episode?
Not more than once or twice.
You sure?
Yeah, because don't you think આવું બહુ બધા લોકોને થતું હોય છે કે યાર when it involves yourself you're very skeptical to view it
I know,
again
maybe.
and again, right? Like I mean I've seen it happen with a lot of people and I am one of those people that I find it a little weird to see my own pitch all the time.
And after the Shark Tank episode release, what is the traffic increase to your website,
Yeah.
the order numbers, even though you get the deal from the shark or you don't get, but what is that impact on your brand?
See, I would say that it is almost about પહેલા 2 મહિના માટે છે ને that impact is roughly about, I would say about, it can range anywhere from 3x to 3x to 5x or maybe even 10x as a matter of fact, again depending on the brand and who is the real consumer watching your Shark Tank episode, right? So for us I would say પહેલા 2 મહિના more or less 3x to 5x ની વચ્ચેનું વોલ્યુમ હતું.
Okay.
We did fairly well. Surprising enough, I mean, Shark Tank air થવાનું તો અમને નહોતી ખબર. We had shot for it, but they just started and we were literally there on the 4th episode. અને એ બી season 1 એટલે કોઈને ખબર નથી કે શું થઈ શકે છે, nothing at all. અને the day it was airing, they told us on the morning of that day કે આજ તમારા એપિસોડ આ જાયગા. હવે biggest problem I had I know because shooting તો એના 2 મહિના પહેલા થઈ ગયું હતું, but my lead times and supply chain lead times are at least 3.5 months. એટલે ત્યારે બધા ઓર્ડર્સ આપી દીધેલા કે ભાઈ અગર શાર્ક ટેન્કમાં આવશે તો we have to have inventory, website should be proper, everything. અને interesting enough that the day it aired we had no inventory. I mean we had very little inventory. And we were fulfilling orders 15 days later, 20 days later, 25 days later. જે ગાળો પડી છે ભયંકર. But we
on the comment section people will
but we કે ભાઈ Shark Tank में आ गए, fake है, scam है, whatever, right? Like and because our lead times are so long, it's very difficult to manage the inventory. But
how do you cope up at that time? જ્યારે આવા comments વાંચો,
We
લોકો
were
આપણને
working-
સપોર્ટમાં ઈમેલ લખે છે અને એઝ અ એન્ટરપ્રેનર આઈ વુડ સે કે કદાચ તમે જ કદાચ સપોર્ટ પર રિપ્લાય બી કરતા હશો.
exactly, because એ વખતે તો
how do you feel and how do you cope up that time?
I think it's absolutely okay. It's okay to accept, right? Because see, I think what I've realized is one very simple thing in a situation like this, that the customer does not know you. Customer will never empathize with you. Customer, you can say અમે સ્ટાર્ટઅપ છીએ, અમે સ્મોલ બિઝનેસ છીએ, અમારા પાસે ટીમ નથી એટલે તમને રિપ્લાય 2 દિવસ પછી મળશે કે 6 દિવસ પછી. Customer doesn't care. And I am sure even us as educated people or mature people or whatever you want to call it, even if this happens with us, આજે આપણને તો ખબર છે કે Amazon આટલી મોટી કંપની છે, હજારો કરોડો લોકો બેઠા છે, તો બી if something wrong happens with us, we take their case completely, right? So how do you separate brand owner or brand team from a consumer is very, very important. You will always have to give in, you will always have to empathize with the customer, even if તમારા ખુદના challenges છે કે તમને ખબર છે કે તમે જેટલો ટ્રાય કરશો you will not be able to satisfy this kind of a customer. It is very important to only empathize, only apologize and only try to make it right.
I remember I ordered something. It is my personal experience few days back and I was discussing with my team as well. Because we order in the evening or we order in the night and we get the product early in the morning itself from Amazon because they have a lot of warehouses and they have their own products.
Correct.
એટલે આપણને ટેવ પડી ગઈ છે, right? The second is Blinkit. કે યાર મેં ઓર્ડર કર્યું 15 મિનિટમાં આવી ગઈ વસ્તુ. And something I ordered for my neck and shoulder pillow and એ લોકોએ મેલમાં લખેલું છે કે it will come after 10 days. But every fucking day I'm just trying to see કે આ ક્યારે આવશે, આ ક્યારે આવશે.
That is
એટલે હવે એ હેબિટ પડી ગયું છે કે boss I need that product in 24 hours but it's not possible if you need that right good product.
correct.
એટલે I would say
it's called the build up impact, right? I see so many times. I have a very close friend also and this happens sometimes with me also, right? He is so excited when he buys anything. And he's a sneaker fan and everything. He's so excited when he buys anything કે દર 3-4 કલાકે ટ્રેકિંગ કરવાનું, ક્યાં પહોંચ્યું. અહીંયા હબમાં આવી જાય, અહીંયા એના વેરહાઉસમાં દેતા ને કે રિસીવ્ડ એટ અમદાવાદ વેરહાઉસ, he will sometimes not even wait for him to come. વેરહાઉસ જઈને લઈ આવશે.
it has done. I mean મારી સાથે થયેલું છે.
I am sure it has happened with most of us, right? So that is the excitement that needs to get built for the consumer to really appreciate your product and your brand. કે એ માણસ 10 દિવસથી વિચારતો હશે right now, and we get all this data from our CRM and our ERP softwares and all. So what we've realized is that a customer on Bummer website converts after coming to the website 5 times.
Yeah.
First visit, second visit, third visit, fourth visit, fifth visit is when they actually buy, right? Because they're building up the idea of buying. હવે આ બિલ્ડઅપ જેટલી વધારે ટાઈમ થતું રહેશે ને, ઇટ્સ અ સિમ્પલ ફિનોમિના. આપણે કેટલી બધી વાર એમેઝોન પર જઈએ, કોઈ વેબસાઇટ પર જઈએ, એડ ટુ કાર્ટ કરીએ, પછી છોડી દઈએ કે લઈશું આરામથી, ચલો વાંધો. So you keep building. Now what happens is કે you keep thinking about that product in the back of your head. And the more you think about it, the excitement further increases and increases. Or else if you remove it out of cart, you realize કે ભાઈ 3 દિવસ પછી realize થયું કે ના આ તો વસ્તુ લેવા જેવી હતી જ નહીં.
To acquire that customer who has come to your website, who has done add to cart, do you guys do heavily on the remarketing? કે બોસ એને કાર્ટમાં ભર્યું છે અને એને 10% ડિસ્કાઉન્ટ બી આપણને એને લઈ જવા દે.
Agreed.
So how did you learn all of these tactics? By the process, by any mentor, by how?
No, it's more or less on the go, I would say. અમે લોકો યાર ડે 1 પર અમે લોકો ફિગર આઉટ કરતા હતા કે ભાઈ વેબસાઇટમાં ડિલિવરી કઈ રીતે ઇન્ટિગ્રેટ કરીએ કે ભાઈ આપણા ઓર્ડરની સ્લિપ જનરેટ થાય ને પછી આપણે શિપ કરીએ એટસેટ્રા. સો આઈ થિંક ફ્રોમ ધેર we've completely self-learned a lot of things, but we've also learned a lot from other entrepreneurs, our team, etc., right? Like, so પહેલા તો એવું બી નહોતું કે બહુ બધી ટીમ હતી અને બહુ એક્સપિરિયન્સ ટીમ બી હતી કે who could come in and say કે અચ્છા ચલો આ રીતે કરો, આ રીતે કરો. So we've learned all of these things on the go and upskilling ourselves, right? Because see, there are, at least we are at a stage of the company where it is very difficult to get a super senior management, CEO level, CMO level, CXO level sort of a management team, right? So basically શું થાય કે how do I contribute to my personal growth? Team, I can contribute a little bit. Other team members contribute to each other's growth, plus the experiences of learning on a daily basis. So there is some growth happening for them. But where is my growth? No doubt I learn from my team also.
Still,
but still I'm talking about for me to probably think of 5 years down the line after Bummer, or 7 years down the line, whenever we decide to exit Bummer or whatever may happen, right? Where is my personal growth? So the best way to do this is by consistently upskilling myself. Now that can come with mentors સાથે you continuously keep chatting, which I have a few of them who I'm frequently speaking to on a monthly basis, quarterly basis. એમનો ટાઈમ મળે એ પ્રમાણે, right? And we have one very interesting thing at Bummer where we try once a Saturday in a month or so, we try and call another D2C founder on a Zoom call, wherever they are in the country, and they talk to my entire team on a Zoom call.
This is wonderful.
So it's a knowledge session, I would say. We've had founders of Sleepy Owl, Arman was there one session, Pant Project was there, Sada was there. They are again a Jaipur based brand. So all of these D2C friends will come in and talk to the team and talk to me as well, right? Like, so some way or the other, some growth happens for everybody.
This is a beautiful idea. I would say if I am a small brand still not known in the market, and if I try to reach to Bummer or reach to Sleepy Owl, they might be hesitate કે યાર હું મારો અડધો કલાક કે મારો કલાક કેમ આપું. But once you are already at a point where people have seen you, people have heard about the brand, and then it becomes much easier for them also કે યાર ના ચાલ હું આ બ્રાન્ડ સાથે આની ટીમને થોડું મારો આઈડિયા આપું.
Sure.
This is a good, I would say it's a community where you share your experience and you make others also elevate themselves.
WhatsApp groups have changed lives.
Yeah, definitely.
ખબર નહીં કેટલા 50 D2C ના ગ્રુપ્સ હશે.
I'm sure.
કસેક ને કસેક ભેગા થઈને ઇન્ડિયાના બધા D2C ફાઉન્ડર એમાં આવી ગયા, બધા આવી ગયા, right? So there is also the initiative to reach out to people and build relationships with them. And once you build that relationship over a period of time, આ કોવિડમાં brand ચાલુ કરી, so obviously I wanted to learn so much. So I reached out to so many founders, spoke to so many of them, because કોવિડમાં ઘરે બેઠા હતા, 2-3 મહિના તો e-commerce બી ચાલુ નહોતું, so no orders, no dispatch, મારા ઘરે 10,000 ચડ્ડીઓ પડી હતી. So there was nothing else I could potentially do, right? So made a lot of connects at the time and became friends with a lot of people.
You are sparking out with that founder wala energy. This is not a director or CEO wala energy. This is founder energy. કે boss મારે આ કરવું છે.
Yeah.
And this is what I think we have in our DNAs.
Yeah.
Which we felt કે boss બેઠા બી રહ્યા છીએ ને તો we know કે boss આમાંથી કંઈક શું કાઢવું ને that we try to do. We would also like to know કે what Bummer is expanding into.
Yeah.
We have seen couple of brands coming from the specific domain to the other domains as well. Are you guys looking into any other product expansions?
Yeah.
Or the location expansions?
Both, yeah. So I don't know if you know, we recently raised a round of funding.
We know.
So I think that is now where the crux of expansion really comes in for us. But having said that, एक वस्तु वो clear है कि we will always want to be known and want to be the underwear brand for the millennials or the younger generation of India. So if you think that most people think કે यार હવે શું આગળ શું apparel બનાવો, apparel brand બની જાઓ, sold store, bewakoof.com, whatever, right? But I think that is definitely not my vision. So just for context, we have some t-shirts and shorts in our lineup.
I saw.
We have pajamas. So we've done those categories. They are very small part of our overall business. About underwear is still about 75% of our overall business.
Okay.
But we want to do those. So t-shirts and shorts are also more sleepwear categories.
Right.
But you will see actually Bummer doing is expand horizontally into underwear furthermore. So experiment with more fabrics, price point ranges. So અત્યારે કેવું છે કે અમે વચ્ચેના price point માં operate કરીએ છીએ more or less. We want to go super mass aspirational. So you will have a more Bummer basic sort of a category.
Okay.
You will have a Bummer Luxe in the longer run, which goes head on with a Calvin Klein, not the same price point, but a little lower than that. We'll go head on with someone like a Jockey at a 200-250 rupee price point. So Bummer Basics, Bummer and Bummer Luxe. Why? Because I think there is ability to build a brand at all price points in this segment that can cater to different consumers of all ages, all brackets, everything, right? And I'm building on the backbone of that one centralized brand. And when I do this, truly we solidify कि भाई हाँ underwear brand है. At any price point, at any design language, you will find Bummer, right? Some things will work, some things will not work also.
Definitely.
But that is the idea. So being underwear first is our core focus, at least for the next 5 years. In terms of channel expansion, geography expansion, something very interesting which is you will see very soon is that you will be able to buy underwear from Swiggy and Zepto in Bombay and Bangalore. Swiggy also in Bangalore to start with, but in the next 2 weeks we will be live selling underwear on
this is
these
interesting.
two portals. Yeah.
I mean, it becomes જે કદાચ હું વાત કરી રહ્યો છું કે you know we have got
10 મિનિટમાં ચડ્ડી.
So 10 મિનિટમાં ચડ્ડી has become the tagline maybe. કે अब चड्डी बनेगी आपके घर available in 10 minutes. I mean this is very interesting.
Yeah.
You know throughout this journey of 4 years and expanding into multiple locations as well, ઘણી વાર એવું થતું હોય કે we go down, we feel low કે યાર હવે આનું શું કરું, અટકી ગયા. You have mentors, you have other founders also helping you. But is there any person or is there anything which you consistently follow in which makes you feel you know somebody becomes the cheerleader for you or somebody becomes the always motivation for you?
Yeah.
Maybe it can be a book, maybe it can be a podcast, maybe it can be a live person, and you feel ke okay, this is a very small problem.
Yeah.
But unless until you don't talk to them or see that, or you feel yaar હું અટકાઈ ગયો છું. You know, is this happening with you as well?
So I would think કે આમાં કેવું છે કે તમને કોઈ બહુ કન્સ્ટ્રક્ટિવ સોલ્યુશન આપે ને તમારી પ્રોબ્લેમ સ્ટેટમેન્ટનું તો અમેઝિંગ, રાઈટ? કે ભાઈ ઠીક છે, આ પ્રોબ્લેમ છે અને ધીસ ઇઝ સમ વે યુ કેન સોલ્વ ઇટ. અને એમાં બી કેવું થાય છે કે ઇટ્સ ઓલવેઝ ઇઝીયર સેડ દેન ડન. બરાબર છે? હવે ઘણા બધા લોકો હુ આર અરાઉન્ડ યુ મેન્ટર્સ છે કે નહીં તમે આવું કરો આ થશે, અને see most peers, friends, family, everybody will say ના સારું થઈ જ જશે ને, હવે it's a question of time, right?
Yeah.
Great, right? Like great motivation, but I think at the end of the day, what you realize is that you yourself have to condition your mind in a certain way to be able to even believe those things. ઘણી વાર આપણાને એવું થાય કે people are giving us advice or feedback which is in good faith કે ભાઈ ના સારું થઈ જશે or things will work out, you know, in a certain way. But I think if you've conditioned your mind to not listen to that, then it is anyways not going to help.
Yeah.
So helping yourself is the best help you can actually do, is what I feel. We've had a extremely tough time in the last 6 months. In fact, actually, mara jare lagan hata, and since the time of August all the way up to, we had a term sheet in hand from the investors, but through November, December, we had run out of cash.
Okay.
And we knew that the term sheet was there, but the legal processes, the due diligence process was taking so long that the actually money hit the bank in the month of February. So through December to February was a crazy time, and parallelly I was getting married also at the same time. There was insane amount of pressure at the time, but the idea is we got through how we got one of the best investors we could potentially ask for, and now it's just, you know, we have to fly through it basically.
Supremely. I mean, the kind of you know, the product, the name, the catchy aspirational value, everything is there. Have you ever got more inquiries from outside India and which is saying કે યાર આ અમને આપી દો, અહીંયા અમે આનું expansion કરીશું? And then what do you think કે this is the right way, this is not the right way, and do you go by intuitive or institutive?
No, I would go by intuition 100%, right? Like I think the world is the market if you think about it.
Right.
અને અગર તમારા પાસે bandwidth હોય તો very interestingly, ખાલી આનો જ એક example છે similar. અમે last year February માં we started a spin-off website called bummer.global.
Okay.
And we started marketing it for about 2 months. કે કરીએ, you know, what do we have to lose? We'll ship from India, right? Like if someone orders in Africa, 10 દિવસ લાગશે પહોંચતા, 15 દિવસ લાગશે પહોંચતા, કસ્ટમ ડ્યુટી લાગશે અને બધું જ થશે. We'll figure it out. And we actually surprisingly shipped a few thousand orders.
You're not saying few orders, few
thousand orders. Yeah, in a span of 2 months, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
For us on our Indian domestic website, that was 3-4 days worth of business, order. Right? Generally, so it was very exciting. But then bandwidth issues, બે અલગ વેબસાઇટ મેનેજ કરવાનું પહોંચી નહોતા વળતા. There were multiple problems we were facing. એક તો we were running ads in Dubai, and so many people came back to us and said ki boss, this is not how you market underwear in Dubai. આ રીતે ના લખાય ad, આવું context ના હોવું જોઈએ, આવી copy ના હોવી જોઈએ તમારી. There are so many rules, right? And we realized કે boss, we don't understand the market. આપણે તો ખાલી ચાલુ કરી દીધું છે, પણ let's understand the markets in deep.
Right.
Because everybody's culture is different, religion is different, rules are different. Let's understand that and then market, right? So having said that, there have been a lot of interest globally, I would say.
Okay.
People who have come in. We've tried selling. We sent 200 piece મોકલ્યા હતા amazon.com US માં. એ હજી ત્યાંના ત્યાં જ પડ્યા છે because you મોકલી દીધા, લિસ્ટિંગ બી કરી દીધું, બધું કરી દીધું, but didn't really know how to scale it up. So it's still there. And immediately after Shark Tank, actually there was a lot of interest. Indians based out of Dubai, Europe, Australia. I still talk every single week. I talk to this one guy from Australia જે મારી પાછળ પડ્યો છે કે મારે બમર ઓસ્ટ્રેલિયામાં ચાલુ. I have never met this guy. I don't know him, but I have done tens of Google meets with him, and he says every day કે ભાઈ, how should we start? And I said the same thing to Aman after Shark Tank कि सर बहुत इंटरेस्ट आ रहा है, बाहर से क्या करें? And he had one dialogue only कि भाई तूने अभी इंडिया में कुछ नहीं उखाड़ा, बाहर क्या जाएगा तू?
That's his typical answer.
Yeah, he was like कि हमने 4,000 करोड़ का बोट बना लिया, हम लोग कहीं बाहर नहीं बेचते, तू क्यों सोच रहा है?
True.
So flip side to it, I would build on intuition. I would not take this advice very literally.
Right. And this is something I think the founder have to have that insight કે બોસ મારું ગટ ફિલિંગ આ કહે છે, અને મને લાગે છે કે ભલે મારું માર્કેટ I could not compare with boat or any other brand, and I would be reaching like this and would be going broadly like this.
Agreed.
Wonderful. Any specific we would like to know about you any specific routine which you follow and you don't miss out on any day કે બોસ કઈ બી થાય આટલું તો હું કરીશ જ or whatever happens boss મને આ જોઈશે. What is that something which leads you?
I will be very honest. I don't have a lifestyle. I don't have a routine, to be very honest.
Okay.
I am not a early riser. I am not the 5 a.m. 6 a.m. guy.
Okay.
I have never been. I don't think I can be. I am a late guy. And honestly, I don't follow a routine. To be very honest, the one thing I'm genuinely really only particular about is going to office, because first thing, I don't use a laptop.
Okay.
I don't use a laptop. So I have got my desktop in the office. So if I ever want to work, the only place I can work is from the office.
From the office.
મેં લેપટોપ જવા દીધું છે, મારી પાસે બીજું કશું જ નથી, ખાલી ફોન છે મારી પાસે, and that's the only way I function. So why I do this is because so that I don't come home and work.
Right.
So I am then in office till late.
Right.
etc. બધું પતાઈને પછી જાઉં, અને પછી જે ફોનથી અગર થોડું બહુ થતું હોય તો એ કરી લઈએ
I think
આપણે.
I should apply this.
100%. I let go of my laptop. I let go of my laptop, I think 2.5-3 years ago.
શું વાત છે?
I have been completely on a desktop since then.
And see, I've been, અગર હું visualize કરું તો it's bliss also.
It's great.
And the other way, ક્યાંક એવું થાય કે અહીંયા કામ અટકી પડ્યું મારા લીધે, કે અહીંયા મારી પાસે લેપટોપ હોત તો વધારે સારું થાત, એક્સેલ ખોલીને કરી લીધું હોત.
I તો urge my team to also do this, સાચું કહું તો.
Okay.
Because શું થાય છે કે હવે આ કોવિડના ટાઈમમાં કેવું છે કે કોવિડ પછી સ્પેસિફિકલી કે વર્ક ફ્રોમ હોમ કરી લઈએ, હું તમારે જ્યારે કામ હોય ત્યારે ગૂગલ મીટ પર આપણે આવી જઈશું. ઇફ દે હેવ અ ડેસ્કટોપ ઇન ધી ઓફિસ ઇટસેલ્ફ, એને જખ મારીને ઓફિસ આવું જ પડશે કામ કરવા માટે.
અને કામ કરવું છે તો બસ ઓફિસ પર બેસો.
Correct.
I mean, I work with lot of small startups as well, and I work with I have my own 2-3 startups where I am a co-founder, right? So ઘણીવાર ઘણા બધા આવે કે સર વર્ક ફ્રોમ હોમ, તો સાચું બોલો દિલ પર હાથ રાખીને કે ઘરેથી કામ થવાનું છે. So I work with one other company as a director, અને ત્યાં બી એક રૂલ છે કે 30 લોકોનું સ્ટાફ છે, પણ if you want to do work from home, you will get 25% of the salary of that day. Are you ready? And automatically લોકો છે ને, ના યાર હું ઘરેથી ક્યાંક બેસીને કરું, કંઈ મળશે નહીં, ભલે મને થોડો ટાઈમ પાસ કરવો છે, હું ઓફિસમાં બેસીને કરી લઈશ, પણ એટલીસ્ટ મને સેલરી. See, because for them also it is that dopamine કે 25% જ મળશે. અને realistically we know that we are not TCS and we are not Infosys, કે people will work and we monitor the screen and everything.
It happens only and only with senior management. Forget senior management. I would say it's one quality that induces work from home, which is the quality of ownership and responsibility, જે maturity. અમારે ત્યાં તો કેવું છે, because we have to target to a younger audience. My entire workforce is below 30 age bracket.
How many Gen Zs you have?
A lot of, more than I can count, but
guys,
I would say 80% of my not 80% of my team is Gen Z. I would say millennials are more. Gen Z ખાલી વધારે માર્કેટિંગ ટીમમાં છે, બાકીની ટીમમાં નથી. માર્કેટિંગ ટીમમાં 4-5 લોકો છે who are Gen Z, so to speak, 23, 24, 22, whatever.
And how do you feel with the Gen Z mindset and the culture they are?
And અમુકવાર જે સોશિયલ મીડિયા પર ટ્રેન્ડ્સ ને બધું આવતું હોય ને, અમુકવાર આપણને નથી ખબર. I am not an active social media guy, to be very honest. મેં એક મારી પોસ્ટ મારી ખુદના સોશિયલ મીડિયામાં 2016ની હતી, પછી હમણાં લગ્ન થયા એની પોસ્ટ હતી ને બસ, એની વચ્ચે કશું જ નથી. અને બાકી વચ્ચે જે સ્ટોરી શેર કરી હોય બમરની ને whatever, right? So I don't understand. I'm an active user of social media. I watch everybody's stories. I look at the feed and everything. But some trends I don't understand, boss. Chic Shack Shook and all that dirty shit. I don't understand, but as a brand we do it. I also know it's a trend, so we do it. કે ભાઈ આની ઉપર ઠીક છે, આની ઉપર કંઈક બમરનું બનાવીને જવા દો boss.
And working with Gen Z, their mindset, what would you advise, the inspirational advice from you to aspirational entrepreneurs or somebody who's looking at કે boss મને કંઈક ધંધો કરવો છે or મારે કંઈક કરવું છે? Because at couple of time I personally feel કે Gen Zs do not have that longer vision. Maybe because of the COVID duration no college education, maybe because of the culture what they are following, K culture and the food also. એટલે lot of time I feel working with Gen Z, talking to them, understanding their lifestyle, કે they might not understand what millennials understand, and we also might not understand what our parents have gone through, right? So what advice would you give to the aspirational entrepreneurs who would be, boss મને બી ધંધો કરવો છે. Is it always freedom of work કે boss મને મારા ટાઈમે કામ કરવા મળે છે, or is it something you have to do everything?
Yeah.
What kind of things would you like to advise?
I would say that firstly, the most important thing that I feel people should really consider is that consider your job or your entrepreneurship journey like you genuinely need it and like your life depends on it. So I'll give you a very classic example, right? कि आजे the best people who work in the company or any company or the people who work the hardest, people who work the best and people who work the most diligently are the people who genuinely need it. And you should always notice this. They are always in on time. They are doing the work, doing the right work. They are always eager to learn. They are always eager to grow. They are always eager to do so many things.
Agreed.
But people who have a certain privilege and a fallback in life, not so much. There are very few exceptions there, right? So I think always reminding yourself that my life depends on this is the best way for people to really build the business, right?
I somehow 120% agree with this.
Yeah.
કે બોસ આજ છે, અગર જો એ માની લીધું ને તો you can win it.
Agreed. Yeah. So there are so many people, right, whose parents, family come from not so privileged backgrounds, right? And large part of life depends on this particular person, right? You always notice that someone with that stature versus this skill set, polished skill, બધું જ બંનેમાં સરખું જ હું તો કહું છું. But the way that guy hustles or girl hustles is far higher than anything this person, unless this other person starts believing for themselves that my entire life, my career is dependent on this. That is the only way you push them to do this. So I would say that is the best way, right? That is the best way to really start building your business or thinking about your business. That my entire life depends on this. Tomorrow if I don't have this business or if I don't succeed in this business, હું literally road પર આવી જઈશ. Let's assume that as a matter of fact. If you do that, I think, and if you condition your mind to think that way, I think the way to work and the way to hustle changes dramatically.
I get the goosebumps. I feel it because I have also seen કે બેક ઓફ ધ માઇન્ડ જેને એવું મનમાં છે કે મારું તો થઈ જશે, મને ચિંતા નથી, મારે જોબની જરૂર નથી, આ તો this is something I'm doing for experience, or હું વર્ષ પછી જમ્પ માર દઈશ 3000 વધારે. Those people have the different mindset definitely. And they do not have this courage also કે ભાઈ ના હું બે વસ્તુ નહીં શીખું તો શું થશે. એટલે I mean they have courage but in a other sense કે કંઈ નહીં થાય, મને શું પ્રોબ્લેમ થવાનો.
Agreed.
And at the same time જ્યારે એ need based વાળું છે, which is somehow giving a good impact on the society as well, because they want to do something. They want to do this. One last question, કે before coming into Bummer or before coming into any business you jumped in, what is that something which people don't teach you but you learn by yourself after coming into the entrepreneurship journey?
Okay.
કારણ કે lot of times this happens કે people don't
so
easily know.
I think I would say that આનો બેઝ ક્વેશ્ચન એક જ છે. જે હું જ્યારે US ગયો ને, that was the first question they asked us also on campus in college, was ke do you think entrepreneurship is something that can be taught or is something that you already know of, right? Like it's something very simple, right? Like there are so many skill sets that people are talented and skilled for, and obviously the practice makes them better, but there is a certain inherent talent that they still continue to have. So say for example something like a music, right? Like you sing from when you are a small child and that voice matures over time, right? So I for one feel that entrepreneurship can be taught, but it also is an inherent quality that someone should have, I believe. You should have thought of that idea of entrepreneurship since your teenage years, your early 20s, college life, કે કશું કરવું છે, right? Because then that idea builds up over time by the time you actually go out and build a company, right? So I for one definitely feel that this is the one single most skill that I would thing that entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs should have to build the idea of entrepreneurship day in day out in their minds. I'm not talking. I would 100% not say ke get supply chain skills or business skills or finance skills. Yeah, everything can be taught. Honestly, I didn't know anything when we started. Like finance and accounting was also fairly poor. I'm a very average student in school. Not even average.
Yeah.
I'm the lower grade of the students in school, college, wherever, right? So none of these things were really taught, right? Like but uh, uh, now we do everything, man. Like even PwC new investor audit karave, financial audits aave, we are ready, boss. We are ready, right? Like just having the entrepreneurial mindset and building the idea of entrepreneurship from day zero in your life and continuously building that idea every single day, I think that is probably the most important thing you should teach yourself.
Yeah.
Everything else can be taught once you actually start doing entrepreneurship.
જે પેલું a lot of time પેલું એક sugar rush હોય,
Yeah.
you know, કે આ કર લો તે કર લો,
Yeah.
and because you have that sugar rush of I want to get things, you know, in, I would not say particular way, but you have this energy.
Yeah.
And because of this, I also want to understand what is your idea of success. Like when you will exit Bummer or you want to grow it to this level, and is that a success for you as an entrepreneur or what?
No, not really, right? Like I think I would say even if 3 years, 5 years, 4 years, or even 1 year down the line, if Bummer shuts down, that is also success for me, to be very honest,
Nice.
right? Because I think there is already a certain trajectory that I have to look up to, and why I say that is success in a way, because there are some things which we have done with Bummer already je mara life ma karu tu, right? Ke bhai I wanted to be on Forbes 30 under 30, Shark Tank. It's not something that I dreamed ke નાનપણથી dream નહોતો કરતો, but once the idea of Shark Tank coming to India happened, I always dreamt of it ke हाँ ठीक છે જવું છે, right? So couple of things we were raise funding, build a team, etc. Something we have achieved, right? So in a way that is success for me, right? Like and then how do I take that success or failure and start my next best thing, right? So I think there is no real definition of success, because the definition, in my opinion, will keep changing. Today when I'm 30,
Yes.
probably at 40 it will change into something else, at 50 it will change into something else, and probably at 60 I want to be in that life where for me success means retirement, right? So
Nice.
so I think that's probably the best way I would like to look at it.
Wonderful. And what I heard about you from a friend, from Maulik, is 110% exactly you are. The energy, the apart of recording, ke, you know, that tool of doing that business, ke na was karvu che,
Yeah.
or I'm happy with what I'm doing, I wanted to achieve this, you have already made that mark. So everything is exactly the same, you know, because before talking to you on WhatsApp, I was also ke, you know, Sulay સાથે વાત કરું છું, and then so me and Maulik are sitting next to each other, and I'm like, Sulay, મને કે ભાઈ એ અલગ છે, and he's like, I'm like, why, what is alag? કે તું એ energy જોજે, you know, to do that business, to do that Bummer so big. And I would not say, I mean, big is a definition.
Yeah, it's
બધાનું અલગ હોય.
agreed.
But what you said is very right. And in my last year's experience of talking to 50 people, I mean, it's a good achievement for me and my team.
Absolutely.
But then we also felt that for everyone, the definition of joy, the definition of happiness, the definition of success, the achievement is all different.
Yeah,
Somebody
absolutely.
is like, yaar, હું આવતીકાલ પ્લાન નથી કરતો મારી, તો મારા માટે સક્સેસ
શું છે ખબર જ નથી, ખબર જ
આજનો
નથી.
દિવસ જે હું કાઢું છું ને, that is
ખબર જ
success.
નથી. Yeah.
એટલે and me and my team are always learning from the people like you, and that's where, you know, it clicks us કે boss, we all know Adanis and Ambanis.
Yeah.
We all know the PR જેની પાછળ એટલી મહેનત થાય છે લોકો સુધી પહોંચાડવા માટેનું, and what kind of stories are being made, or maybe right stories coming out, we don't know.
Yeah.
But I knew that people like you, whatever you will be saying, it is going to be pure, and it is going to be the right experience which will reach to the audience.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And this is why the coming on podcast format or maybe a video reel format is stuck in our mind કે boss આ જે real insights છે ને we want to make it reach to the broader audience.
Yeah.
Because Gujaratis are known for two things, food and ધંધો. એટલે you see lot of reels on food and a lot of my relatives also from Bombay or Canada, they will be sending me કે મીતભાઈ અમે અમદાવાદ આવીએ ને તો મને
આ ખાવું છે ને તે ખાવું છે.
And the other thing is કે યાર ધોળકિયા સાહેબ આવું કરે છે, બાલાજી from Rajkot is doing this, and Adani has become a good big name from Gujarat. અને at that time lot of time being in the branding field I feel કે આમાંથી કેટલી સ્ટોરી મેડ છે ને એ અમને ખબર છે, બટ કેટલું રિયાલિટી છે ને એ I think I'll get out. I mean લોકો પાસેથી I'll bring out કે this is the reality. એટલે don't just assume કે whatever is being shown to you જે તમને પીરસવામાં આવ્યું છે that's the only right thing. Of course it is right, I'm not saying it is
more or less yeah. I mean આગળ થોડુંક આગળ પાછળ તો
એટલે મસાલા નાખવામાં આવે અને that's where I wanted કે I want to give the society back કે boss we want to get the right information અને right knowledge, and that is where the born of Gujpreneur got started કે boss we want to do this. Thank you for coming to the platform. બહુ જ મજા આવી તમારી સાથે વાત કરી.
અરે thank you
so much.
Thank you.